Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Slapshot Syndicate. The three of us are back in action, and it is a big episode as we're at the penultimate / going into the final weekend where our predictor will come to its conclusion. I'm sure we're in for a real tasty treat. So, before this episode aired, we had a little preview, little snippet of what was said last week, and you posted it out there, Rossy, and it didn't look good for you. We'll find out the true story as the episode goes on.
I was going to say we don't know yet, but that could just be clickbait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what we've
I think it was so close going into the week, wasn't it? I think there was maybe like 7 points, 8 points between all of us from top to bottom. I think you was
5, wasn't it?
Was it 5 top to bottom? I think was you like maybe a point or a couple of points ahead of me. So yeah, I really needed all the points I could get. So that was a great start. Well, end to the week, 'cause that was the last game of the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, all to be revealed, guys. All to be revealed.
But an interesting week, nonetheless. You know, it's a bit of a weird week. It's one of those where we know it's the end of the season and teams are resting players for playoffs, or they haven't got stuff to play for. And we saw some wild results as well, didn't we?
Yeah, it's the calm before the storm, innit, really. And you think, like, we've talked about this, but given how close everyone is in the table, the seedings don't seem to be coming into it. We'll discuss this a little bit more, but it almost feels like we're in that period where there's not a lot of hockey going on because they're all preparing for the fireworks. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
With that said then, let's jump straight into our home team, the Hull Seahawks, and do a reflection on their week. So now we're going to reflect on what Hull Seahawks did this weekend. It was a tough weekend, first and foremost. You know, away to Sheffield, a place where we have struggled.
Yeah.
But we didn't on this occasion. 3-1 winners, so let's get that out of the way straight away. But a bit of a shaky game.
Yeah. So we split duties this week, didn't we, boys? So I watched the Sheffield Seahawks game, and you guys watched Seahawks at home, obviously. And obviously I knew I wasn't going to be there on a Sunday, so I really wanted to watch this game. And first period, it was a bit of an interesting game, really. It was very much Seahawks showing how well they can defend. If I'm being fair to them, Heskey was really, really good. The decor was really, really good. Sheffield had a lot of good chances in the game, to be honest. Obviously the stats show that when you look into how many shots and stuff like that they had. But I do think, to be fair to Sheffield, in the first period they were very much on top. They were the team that were coming at us and we were sort of defending that. I think they defended really, really well, which was real positive, and I think going into sort of the games in the next few weeks, especially playoffs, that's going to go in good stead for us. Because I think what you can remember about these games is like we rest players. So for example, in this game, Bobby Chamberlain travelled away, which was a real positive because he hasn't been recently. But we didn't have Emi Svek, and obviously that was the tale for the full weekend. So whilst it's great that we're resting those players, it almost makes you think as well, like, oh well, how is that going to affect the dynamic of the team? And to be fair to Sheffield, you know, they were good value. There was going at it a lot. It took quite a while to actually get into the game for the deadlock to be broken. Yeah. And the circumstances around that were very interesting, weren't they?
I was going to say, like, obviously I didn't watch it, but I know they got a short-handed goal. Yeah.
So I was giving you boys a bit of running commentary, wasn't I? So we went on the pout. So I think second period was a little bit better. It was sort of one of the classic Seahawks periods where it was a bit like both teams nullifying each other. You know, like I think us as a team, we tend to come out really sharp or concede, and then in the third period, that's when we sort of come alive. But second periods, I think for us, we sort of like, you go, then we'll go, you go, then we'll go sort of thing. It's a bit end to end, and I think that was the case here. But I think when we got this power play, it was a bit against the run of play, but it almost woke us up a little bit. Yeah. So we had the puck in the zone. So this is about, I want to say, is it 30 minutes in?
31-33.
31-33. So we had the puck in their zone. It's cleared down to our zone. Our player picks it up. I think it's one of our defensemen. Passed it to Jordy Stallard. Jordy Stallard skates it over the blue line and tries to like flick it round the back of his around his back to square it across. And I think one of the Sheffield players just read him like a book and just clicked onto it. Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3 pass, and it was in. Because obviously on a power play, your players are on the blue line, getting ready to get into the zone, aren't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very much like, what's going to happen here? Because that can inject, when you get a shot, it can really inject something into your team. But to be fair to Seahawks, they really stood by it and sort of went back to what they was doing. Heskey making some really, really good saves, and obviously it didn't take too long for us to get back to level pegging, really.
Just thinking about the game as a whole, was you surprised by the approach and how Sheffield played? Obviously, it's worth mentioning here that up to this point, Sheffield obviously won the cup.
Yeah, on Wednesday night.
So obviously, big celebrations and big congratulations to them for that. Was you surprised by their mentality going into the game and how they actually played?
To be honest, no. I think it was reflective of how they've played a lot this year. They didn't have CJ Garcia, so obviously they had their forwards out, in terms of imports, and obviously Brady Parker's playing pretty much every game for him now because Aldale's become injured now, hasn't he? So Brady Parker was in goal. He isn't a pushover. He's proved that he's been really good, and obviously midweek he had a really good game in the final, didn't he? So no, I wasn't surprised at Sheffield and the way they approached the game. If I'm honest, I thought they played quite a good game up until when we scored, and I thought that's when they sort of backpedaled a bit and thought, they still came at us, and there was moments where like Genginov had like 2 or 3 good chances, and Heskey just made really good saves, or tipped it around the post, or it's hit the outside of the post. So I think there was one as well in the third period that looked like an absolutely brilliant camera save, but actually Heskey got his was within about a millimetre. It went over his glove, but it hit the bar, and I thought he tipped it onto the bar, and I was going mental, like, oh my god! But actually, it was just a shot. But yeah, no, I think Heskey's closing those gaps. He's proven his worth, and he had a really good game in that sort of game. But going back to us, it comes away from me now. I know it was a power play, our first goal. How long in was that?
41 minutes in.
41 minutes, yeah. So just after, that's right. So just before the end of the period, I think Sheffield got it was a hooking call against Tim Smith. And there's obviously like 40 seconds of the period, so we didn't really get many chances or like that. Came back out, and it only took a minute, so obviously there's only maybe like 20 seconds left of the power play, and Johnny got on the score sheet. I thought it was a really nice really well worked goal as well, to be fair. Really good value for it. And from there it seemed that Seahawks just sort of went after it, and obviously following that, we get the goal obviously on power play, they go back to even strength, then they get another call, and just before, I don't even know how long it took, did it say on there? 35 seconds was in there again, and Bobby Chamber with a really nice snipe. Hopefully the highlights will come up soon so you guys will get to see it, but I think it was Jordy Stallard who played it to Johnny squared it, and it really was a snipe. It was like almost like an Emmy sort of winder where he just ripped it, and Brady Parker's just looked at it as if to be like, he's already facing Johnny at the other side, and I don't even think he had time to sort of get across. It was really quick. It was really nice goal, and then it really, I think that second goal sort of pushed us on. Then was like, right, we're going to take a bit of a control of this game, and again 3 minutes later another goal by Johnny, and this goal, if you get to see it, watch it back. I think Seahawks have put it on their social media, or maybe Johnny did as well, but he walked in. It was really, really, really nice. Like he's gone all the way through, rounded Brady Parker, and just sort of knocked it into the goal. Like it was like not even knocked it into goal. I don't even think he just like sort of just let it go. It was like naughty, and I think Matty said in his interview afterwards that like there was people on the bench like pretending to be sick because it was like that slick. He's just ghosted through the full team. Like just see you later. He's dangled Brady Parker. Brady Parker's gone on. He's just sort of wound it around him and just skated forward with a puck that's just gone ding into the goal.
He's having a right time at the minute.
His confidence is unbelievable, unbelievable.
Look into the weekend before against Telford where he got the hat trick. I remember he did a penalty shot in that game, and he just sort of left Brad down the floor and was just like, and then just sort of dabbed it behind him. And like, you've got no right to do that.
It's disgusting. Absolutely.
And it's just his form at the minute is absolutely fantastic. And, it proved it in both games this weekend, to be honest with you, and it has shown that we did miss missing when he was out for those number of weeks, injured, and he's turning on his Owen Sobchak sort of form from the playoffs last year. Do you remember? He was absolutely pulling up trees out of nowhere, so long way to continue.
He's going to be a massive part of our playoffs this year. I think a lot of people are starting to realise how underrated he is now, and a lot of different podcasts and people mention Johnny now, and I think that's the credit he sort of deserves, because we see him every week and how important he is to our team, and when he was injured it was a big loss, wasn't it? So the fact that he's back now and the timing that he's back, and with Matty obviously saying that hopefully next week we're going to have a full team back, it's quite exciting, isn't it, really, because next week is where it starts. Obviously there's nothing really to play for.
It's a form builder, isn't it?
It's a form builder, exactly, and you want to be putting your best team out, and you want to be going for it as if it's playoffs, don't you? So
yeah,
nice.
It means we've got a full weekend upcoming where we can maybe try something maybe a bit different. Like, if so-and-so isn't going to be available, Bobby or Cornel, then what do I do? How do I change it? I think we mentioned on Sunday it was good to see Ethan Hare back as well.
Yeah, it was massive.
You could see, what his work
Very
is to the
noticeable.
team as well. So it'd be good for him to get more minutes in the tank as well going into the playoffs.
Before playoffs.
Yeah,
definitely.
So 3-1 victory. It was nice to go to Sheffield and actually get a win. Some of that has been hard to come by, and obviously then winning the cup during the week, it was on a flyer. So to go there and disrupt that form and the jubilation a little bit was nice, and obviously Yorkshire derby, so even better. Yeah,
Yorkshire, although it was orange during the week, it's now black and white again. So all you other Yorkshiremen can just wait till the next one.
So that was Saturday night away, then home on the Sunday, and the Seahawks hosted the Bristol Pitbulls, which we was in attendance for. Again, seems very similar to how Rossy mentioned there. It was a bit of a slow start. It was a real weird game. Again, comes back to that sort of end of season game where there was really not much to play for. It was a bit of a weird watch, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, it did feel like that. Like you could feel the sort of atmosphere in the crowd, and to be fair, considering there was over 1,400 people in attendance, you just knew, didn't you, that there wasn't a lot to play for. But nevertheless, the attendance was pretty good for Mother's Day as well, and I think that's testament to the Seahawks and being able to get people through the door. But yeah, the similar vibe as you. It was a bit like we're not really getting hold of it. They weren't either, but it was just a little bit. Felt like a scrappy performance on both sides. We're again missing Emmy because we're resting him, but. Yeah, I felt like out of all of the lines, it was probably the second third line that looks more like scoring at this point for us. Bristol Pitbulls got some quality players between Dunbar and Bricknell and Lipsy, who...
Bricknell on the night looked very good.
Did he?
Like, aside from him not scoring, the way he would pick up like the puck in his own end, and he was just weaving by people. I think it took a while, and I'm sure it was him where somebody hit checked him. Was it Odge? The Odge hit checked him, and I was like, yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
Instead of letting him weave around and you're trying to take the puck off him, just give him one and just give him a little hit check. It wasn't like poof explosion, but give him one and sat him down. I was like, that's what you needed to do, because. Bricks, when he had the puck on his tape, he just off he went. He was like, he's a class player. And bold claim, get this one as a real here. I said Leeds Knights will pick him up.
You think?
If he was to go and be the main star, I think they'd lap him up.
Can you imagine him on the line with Sobchak and Brown? Jesus Christ.
I think he can be that guy though, Bricknell, to be honest. We saw it with Swindon.
How many points now is he off? Is he on that? He's on about 98 points now.
96, 98, something like that.
And Bristol at 10th in the league.
Yeah.
Like, what can he do at a team that is up there?
We saw it with Swindon, 100 points there, and now he's going to be 100 points at a team 10th in the league. But surely you've got to sign him up at somewhere.
Can you imagine if when Nell goes, he then says to the Nell family or whoever's running it, let's get him back.
Yeah.
Like when you've got that defence of Ryan Wells and Ben O'Connor and Tyler Plowers and Jamie Smith and all these really solid defence. The defence is solid now, isn't it? You add Jake Bricknell into that, and who's beating Swindon?
Yeah, but just coming back to I said it again, another controversial one, and I was saying, and I said it again on Sunday, what if Leeds don't make playoffs? What if they don't? Does that then suddenly we've got to do something about this? And just watching Bricknell again, you think that's the sort of player they need to get in. Somebody who's good with the puck, can drive with it,
Yeah.
He can assist. We've seen it this season as well, and he can score goals.
Big moments.
He's pretty much a complete player, and I think he would. You know, I don't know what he's like off the ice or in the dressing room, but if the mentality and the characteristics are there, he'd walk into that team and he would become a superstar. Brownie's obviously had a bit of an injury issue this season, so if Brownie's out the team, Bricknell. But
then there's talk of Bissonnette retiring at the end of the season. He's getting older now, and I think there was talk of him winding it in last year, and if he departs this year and they don't re-sign Nikovic or something like that, then you've got to look at a big player like that, haven't you? And if you've got the money, which we all know Leeds probably do, they've got the facilities, really nice apartments where there's players play right in Leeds city centre,
I know we're digressing a bit here, and we'll pull it back round.
Seahawks reaction.
Yeah, Seahawks reaction. But I just wanted to mention Bricknell, because in a game for me where it was good in the middle and there was some nice movement with the puck, it was sort of when it came to the goal scoring opportunities, it sort of was a bit like, it's breaking down. And I think that was more so for us at the start of the game. I know we took the lead, and eventually when we did take the lead, it was like, we needed that, but then it didn't last, did it? I think it was less than a minute.
Yeah. It was less than a minute.
And Mason Lipsey scored, and it was a nice goal.
Yeah.
And then, you thought, we're onto a flyer here, and then we let it go again, and it was a pretty poor mistake as well, wasn't it? We picked it up round at the back of our own net, and I think it might have been Dylan Hare, not to throw him under the bus here, but he sort of came out, and without even realising, the Bristol player just came up, stick lifted him, straight in front of goal, bang. The next guy was just sort of like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Was that when it was laid on the floor, I think, at one point, wasn't he, Heskey, and it, obviously, because he was a bit further out, it
dinked him.
Over his head, and there's nothing he could do about it.
I don't think there was much he could have done about any of the goals he conceded on the night. It was a bit, but there was just signs maybe you said about obviously the goal he conceded in Sheffield was a bit poor. Again, it was a bit of a defensive lapse that led to that.
And there's two ways to look at it. One, it's like, let's get it sorted, but on the flip side, to be honest, I'd rather it happen now. Than in playoffs. So it's
I don't think it's worrying signs. I think it's just the time of year we're in, and
and you know what? Probably a credit to Bristol as well, because that top line that they've got, Mason Lipsey don't really get that much credit. Like, his name isn't one that's thrown out there, but Dunbar and Bricknell, they've been here and done it for so long now, haven't they? Out of interest, how did Dunbar play on the night? Because he's been ripping it up recently.
I thought I didn't really notice him, but as soon as they announced the assist, he was like, Johnny D's at it again.
Just going about his business then.
He was.
I think Bricknell was like that as well. He had those moments where he did glide around. And he was like, that's Bricknell. But then other times the game was just passing, you didn't really notice him.
Yeah. So that was 2-1 then.
That was 2-1, and you just thought we need to sort of pull ourselves together here and get going, because again the attack just didn't seem to be flowing nicely. Even the times when we had the power plays and stuff like that, you could just see we was almost looking for that Specs there with a slap, and it wasn't there, and there was sort of what do we do now? You could just see and how much Emmy is important to us.
We do rely on that, don't we? Probably a little bit too much, because
it's the front having it there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that's what I was just going to say, is because we had to try and look at different things, but when we do have Emmy Svek on the power play, I wouldn't even say necessarily that we're always look for him, but when he's there, he's a presence that they're aware
it's
of.
In the opposition's mind. I need to get out to him to stop the shot.
He's always looking over here, so it then creates a little bit more of a gap.
Exactly.
You just need to fake the pass, and it pulls the player out, and next thing you know, bang, you found the pass there.
Yeah.
And it is just that, because when he's not there, you think, where's something going to come from?
His presence on that power play is massive, definitely. But our first goal scorer was Mr. Kent, one of Alex's favourite. Assisted by Broughton, with a second assist by Dancer, who had come from
Aidan Dancer,
from the Jets.
How was that line looking about? Obviously got the first goal, just doing the usual
Ratting.
Good, fair play.
Ratting, that's all you could ask for,
nice, like you say.
Yeah, was, to be fair.
Yeah, it was
nice
alright.
Nice to work, yeah.
Good. That's what you need, innit? Goals off your fourth line is great.
That's what you want. You need the numbers through all the lines. We've seen it multiple times through this year where third, fourth line have come in clutch for us, and it's at times probably been the best line in the team.
You can't
know. But so 2-1 down, end of the first period. I don't think it was anything really dramatic, was it? Really? Yeah, we was getting beat, but I wasn't. I wasn't like, oh god, what we doing here? I was just sort of like,
yeah.
Again, as we said at the beginning, it wasn't like it was a bit of a meh game, full stop, wasn't it? It was sort of like, there's nothing to worry about here. It's just going to happen, isn't it? You know, and I know that sounds a bit negative, but it's just like the game was just played that sort of like baseline. It was just sort of like happening.
Yeah.
But we soon picked it up, didn't we? And you know, it did take half an hour, and Lee Bonner scored, and that was a really nice goal on it.
Yeah.
Sort of Gorrick came down the right side, and we was in a real good position. And you just saw him open up, and he just snipes it bottom pocket, and the keeper was just like, right, I get it in there.
Fair.
And it was a really nice goal.
Again, another night though where Lee Bonner's just been doing what Lee Bonner does, and I think he's a massive part of this team injecting pace and energy into it, because there was a few moments where you couldn't help but feel like it needed somebody to do so. If it was under any circumstances, this game would have had a fight. I think.
Yeah. I think it was one of those where it was just like
it needed a
don't do anything. Just, and there
But-
wasn't much of it, was there really? There was no like. I thought Bristol was going to be a disruptor and start giving it a bit, but they didn't really.
And look at what happened last year with these. Like, there was lots of people talking, it's going to kick off and stuff, and you know, it's two different teams and stuff. Yeah, exactly. You can't be affording to get bans, and look what happened with Chamber last year. Like, you can't be affording that, can you? So it's just not worth it.
And then, we come into it 2-1 down, and then 40 minutes in, Jake Britnell, unassisted,
3-2.
Yeah, takes it to 3-2. So that at this point, it's feeling like okay, game on.
So this is straight after the break.
What
happened there? Do we have the puck then?
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened.
So it's unassisted. Is he nicked it off somebody?
I don't think he did. I think they came out and was a bit more on the aggressive from the off, didn't they? And I think they just dove straight at us. Now I think this was maybe a part of their game plan, thinking we need to try and get ahead here. Knowing that we're going into that third period, just like with a chance to really sort of cause a bit of an issue for us, and they did. And like I say, Jake, you know, he's very good at what he does, and I seem to remember it being a good finish. I remember saying, "Oh, that's a good goal."
A good goal.
But you know, maybe a bit
out
of there, just saying I can't remember it, but.
Yeah, but that made it a third period game at this point, and again 15 minutes. Was it 15 minutes?
We didn't really like scoring up to this point. If I'm honest with you, there was no like glaring chance. I think there was maybe one. I seem to think there was one. Was it where Chamber went through? And did he hit the post? And
yes,
he did.
Yeah.
He went through and just like bang, and you could see him like literally trying to place it as far away from the keeper, and you heard it just ding off the post. And I remember saying that was the chance. That was the one.
Yeah. It felt like the moment.
There was few and far between these chances where you thought we're going to get back into this, but lo and behold, as you were just about to say, 55 minutes, we did get the goal.
We did indeed. Josh Crawley.
Crawl space in there.
Yeah.
Nice goal.
It was a nice
really
goal.
nice.
He's got signs, man. He's got signs of being a real good player. He's obviously got pace to burn, but I think in terms of his quality, what we've noticed about Crawley, that's been a little different to some of the other players we've got on our team. When he's got the puck, he can actually do things with it as well, can't he? That's not saying others can't, but you know, like all that training and time with Manchester's obviously paying off there, isn't it?
Yeah. So as I remember it, sort of came through on like the left side, so closest to us, won it. And then he sort of started to drift back out, and he sort of looked and just released it. And it was either crossbar or post, but you hear it ding, and it just rattled in and hit the twine. And he was like, "That is a finish." That from somebody who doesn't score that many, it was a really nice, well taken goal. And you was just like, "That was vital." Like say 5 minutes to play.
Showing his worth as well, yeah, definitely. Because obviously, I think in the past couple of weeks we've had to play Josh more to make sure he's eligible for this playoff running. And if obviously we get to the final four, so for him to get on the score sheet as well, I think is a really nice little reward for him.
That's a fair comment actually.
So at that point it was okay, well, we're deadlock again,
we're going to
overtime.
And we were sort of like trying to in our minds think, oh, which line's going to go against what here, and it was a bit, I think we was a bit dumbfounded at first by our line that went out.
First line on OT was
Stallard,
Jordan Stallard,
Hewitt,
and was it Hare?
Possibly.
It was either Hare or
I think it was. So I'd said about obviously Dylan had a few shaky moments in the game. I'd be like, oh, this is interesting. But my old man was like, oh, I don't think Hewitt's had that good of a game. He's been a bit of the same where he's been a bit hit and miss. So we was like, right, two of the three players here haven't had the best of games, and we're going into this, and we're like, ooh. But it worked well, to be honest with you. They shut down. They did. they didn't do anything too dramatically good. It was sort of,
Got
it was a
the puck
feeling
back.
out sort of process
Yeah,
in
it
that
was.
overtime, wasn't it? Of sort of like, ooh, are we going to play this?
Yeah.
And then it didn't take long because it was only 49 seconds, I think it was. I think it must have been the next line that came on.
It was.
That came on, and Johnny came on, and he sort of had the puck. And I remember, I think you said it as he came in. He was like, "There's nobody with him."
Yeah.
And then he didn't need anybody. He just came wrapped round, coast to coast. Napier was chewing on ice on the floor and just went round him and just flipped it, and he just turned around and went. And you just sort of like, hang on a minute. In a game where like goal scoring like opportunities are come few and far between, you've just gone, do you know what? I could do to get in the shower here. He's wrapped round like say, Napier's down there. He's licking the ice or something. He's just gone. Honestly, it's such a blasé finish. And the celebration was just like, yeah, we've done finished here. It's like, all right, then, cool.
After chasing the game, like for most of it, like to then come out with a win, 49 seconds into overtime, felt a little bit like I almost felt a bit gutted for Bristol.
It was so like anticlimactic. You were just like, well, this is going to go to a shootout. Nobody's like, there's no good scoring opportunities or anything. It's just going to play out for 5 minutes, and he's just go up and go, yeah, let's go to bed then.
Yeah, I know.
Like, all right, okay.
Shows the confidence he's got, I guess.
Yeah, and again, you know, we mentioned about how he did it on the Saturday in Sheffield, and he did it the weekend before in Telford, and he's coming to a real good vein of form, and you know, penalty shots, overtime, normal play. He's scoring in every opportunity he's getting at big moments in games. So yeah, if he continues it, we're going to be chuffed, aren't we? But 4-point weekend.
Yeah, massive. You know, I think these are obviously they're not important in terms of standing, but they are important in terms of form.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, if you're gonna make mistakes and stuff, rather now than.
I think coming away with wins, like that's a sign of a really good team. That innit?
Yeah.
What are we now? 14,
that is our
14
difference
games,
between us
one
now
loss.
is that we can do this to teams. We can trail and we can turn it on and we can go and win the game. Like whereas start of this season and into the back of last season, it felt like if you went behind, we weren't getting ahead.
Yeah.
And now we've sort of flipped that narrative. So
I really would like to see or think what other teams think of Seahawks at the moment.
This is a point I was just going to make. So obviously we're winning games, which is really good, but I think you've got to instill that fear in teams going into that playoffs where you think a lot of teams might have thought, Peterborough beat Hull, there's a crack.
Yeah.
But then we've gone back on to winning games, and some of them have been a bit ugly, but then it's instilling that fear into the teams where you think, don't want to be playing them in that group.
And then
They're just tough to beat.
And then the next weekend you go and beat Sheffield, so like, actually, crack sort of patch now, you know, like, it's, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and, you know, again, we've mentioned how we play Peterborough again on Saturday, you know.
With everybody back.
I think if we was to beat Peterborough again, you're like, oh, God, they've sort of righted that wrong. Yeah. They are that team that will just beat anybody.
And realistic,
I know it'll be a bit of a nothing game again, but I think, you know, we can beat Peterborough. Yeah, I think that's what it is for us. If we can go, regardless of the score, I mean, if we was to go out there and beat Peterborough 5-2 or something, you'd be like, where we are. You know, the way that top line's going for Peterborough. Sure. But I think just getting that win against Peterborough could be a big. The
way we beat Peterborough is discipline, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No power plays.
I don't know on power play.
You cannot give them any.
If you're going to do it the right ways, be hard and firm in your hits, just finish them. Like you say, if Yanni wants to start doing things, or Cam Huff thinks he's going to get another 7-point night, just give him one, but do it in the right way.
Yeah.
Don't be doing out daft. But that wraps up our weekend then, boys. As mentioned, 4-point weekend, nothing to sniff at, happy days, and we roll on to the final regular season weekend, and it's going to be an interesting one for us. Anything to finish us off?
No, shall we have a look around the league?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at the rest of the league. So now we're going to look at the results from the past week as well, and as we all well know, the first game that we need to cover is that cup final, which was Sheffield Steel Dogs and Leeds Knights. Obviously we did our predictor, and this one sort of went really wild, didn't it? I remember we was all keeping an eye on this. Obviously,
I don't know, I think that you might have been close to this. I think you guessed the score, didn't you? Sorry, pardon my French, but I've just had an epiphany. I think that you got a correct score on
told
this.
you it was an inside job. This.
I didn't. I'm not gonna reveal, but I did say, if you remember, that I think Leeds will win on the night, but Sheffield will win the cup. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
All will be revealed.
Okay.
So
moving
I remember, you know, as a shout out here, I had the notifications on Blue Line stats for this one the night, and it was just incredible to just see it pinging from you, just like, yo, what's going on here? But some game, I mean, from, you know, holding 3-1 going into this game, I honestly thought Sheffield would just sort of see this one out as it did, and by heck did it go completely wild on this one. So it did go into overtime, this one, 5-4, wasn't it? And
it was, in fact, it went 5-3 in, didn't it? But like, it looks a bit strange, it looks like it was 4-4, but it was 5-3.
It was weird.
Because of the aggregate.
Sheffield won, but lost on the numbered score, which is weird when you see it like that. But it's absolute wild one. It blew me away to see how it went out. But good for a spectacle. You know, I think there was 1,100 people for that one, so it must have been a great one to watch. Yeah,
especially in Sheffield. Like, it obviously, everyone jabs at them and stuff like that, but it must have been good to win in front of that many people. But I think I just wanted to touch on both these teams before we get into the other sort of games. A massive credit to Sheffield, because at the start of the season we said with the squad that they had compiled, for them to do something this year would be a massive step in the right direction, and they've definitely done that, haven't they? You know, the signing of Genginov has been unbelievable. CJ Garcia has been a really, really big pickup for him. For them, sorry. So I think, but overall, like even the Brits that they're brought in, like Liam Steele and Peter and Carl Watson, and you know, people like that. Like, I think for those, it's been a really, really good season. Like, if they do anything extra after this, then it's a bonus, isn't it, really? On the flip side for Leeds, though, I do think it's been a bit of a roller coaster for them. Obviously Brownie's had a couple of injuries, their imports haven't. They've had two imports that have been injured, like with Staudaker, sorry, the name escapes me there, and Mickey Victor's obviously been up and down with his injuries and stuff, so they've not had it easy, and when you haven't got Kieran Brown and that lifeline that he provides you, it's really tough, isn't it? So I think for them to go to there without Brownie and to put that kind of performance up with the young lads that they have, I think is a massive credit to them.
Absolutely.
Although this season may end with no trophies, you know, you've got to look at that and sort of give them credit where it's due.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, I just, the man who won it in overtime, Berg Genginov, as a personal note, I know it's a team sport, but for what he's done this season, I mean, I mentioned to you, I think, weekend, and I said, like, who's your player of the season? And I said he'd probably be up there for me. So for him to win it with the responsibility he's taken on and what he's done for Sheffield this season, I thought it was a good moment for him. I was chuffed for him that he won that.
Yeah, and actually he's one that's really supportive of the pod as well.
Yeah.
Well, we obviously haven't done much or anything at all with Sheffield this season for external factors, but Bear's always been in touch. He's a really sound guy, very supportive of the pod, and it's nice to see someone like that then get their comeuppance, really.
It was a really nice goal as well.
It was a really nice goal.
Was it 11 seconds left in overtime and he smashed it in?
Yeah, I think so. It was very, very close.
Yeah, and he sort of just came inside, and he sort of came in, and Gozzi's giving him, and just poof on the inside of Gozzi. He was like, really good finish that.
Big shame for Gozzi. One thing I thought was a bit of a shame, guys. Did anyone see the picture after the game where there was just, I think there was about 4 Leeds players that stayed to wait for him to raise the cup.
Really?
I think Gozzi was definitely one of them. Sobs was definitely one of them. I can't remember the other two. I don't know the factors. Maybe there was an issue. Maybe they all asked to leave the house. I doubt it though. But I saw them 4 stay, and I thought that was very classy of them to do so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You know, it's alright when
sportsmanship, innit?
They've won countless things in the past 3-4 years, and teams have stood there and watched them lift things.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, when it's not going well for you, you've got to show that same class.
Give them a guard of honour or something like.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, you mentioned the 2 guys there. Gozzi, I mean, we've talked to Gozzi and we've had him on, and he's a top guy. You know, and it doesn't surprise me that he was on there to, you know, pay his respects. And obviously Sobchak's played for us and he's always been good to us, and we've had a few chats with him. So again, another player that doesn't surprise me. So fair play.
Do feel a bit for Sobs. I know obviously he left Hull, but I don't think he left in bad terms. Would have been nice to see him get that trophy finally for his career, because let's remember, Owen Sobchak has not won. I don't, quote me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever won a trophy at professional level.
I don't think it was the short game. I think it's a long game for Sobchak. You know, it has been a transition year for Leeds. And next year, again, if I was right what I'm saying, and they did get somebody like Bricknell, you can only see him going back to winning ways. He would get that if he does stay. So
that's fair.
Long game.
Fair play
for Sobchak. So was you surprised it went as deep into, you know, the game overtime as it went? Or
I think certainly in this game I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
I was a bit more surprised at the first game, to be honest, in
3-1.
Leeds. Yeah, the 3-1. But this one, like obviously it's the sort of the final hurrah for Leeds, and there was always going to come out putting the best foot forward. And I think in actuality, although it was at Sheffield, it was more Sheffield's to lose at this point.
100%,
So yeah, I'm not massively surprised on the night, but when we look at the overall, double header, the first leg surprised me the most.
I don't know why I had such a feeling that Leeds would come back on the night. I said that I was like, I just got this funny feeling. I think it was just a novelty of it, to be honest. But yeah, I really don't know why. But
well, they came from 3 down last year against Romford.
yeah, true, very true.
Won it, so
Yeah.
they've got a bit.
They've just got that in them, haven't they? I feel like an oldie team is never going to lay down and just take it.
We've said it before, haven't we? You don't write them off.
No,
Can't
absolutely not.
write these off.
So again, a big congratulations there for Sheffield Steel Dogs winning that cup. But unfortunately for them, they came up against Hull Seahawks on the Friday night, which is the next game, in which Hull Seahawks won 3-1. As you know, we did mention in the Hull Seahawks reaction, a big result that for Seahawks, especially away at Sheffield. And then we move into Saturday's game. So first game, Leeds Knights hosting the Romford Raiders.
This had big consequences around this game, didn't it? Because as me and Brad mentioned last week, Romford only needed 2 points this weekend to secure that 8th space, and the first one was Leeds, so they had Leeds on Saturday, Solway on Sunday. Probably not the game that you'd have picked out of the two for them to secure it.
No.
Yeah, so 8 free winners, Romford.
Yeah. And what a way to do it, like, that is emphatic in it. I know that Gozzi went in goal for this. Ollie Booth played this weekend, which is good because it's obviously a new netminder sort of being given his chance, and obviously naturally this weekend we're going to speak about people not playing and things like that, but regardless you can only play what's in front of you, can't you? And the determination from Romford there has been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah. And then the next game, Swindon Wildcats hosting the Peterborough Phantoms. Swindon taking this one 4-1.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise at this one, to be honest with you. Obviously, in regular season, I would have expected it to go this way, but given Swindon recent form of Peterborough, and Swindon obviously already know where they're going in terms of seedings, etc. I expected actually Peterborough would have put up more of a fight in this one. Yeah.
Anyone think it might have been to do with the announcement before the game?
Potentially.
A little buzz around the building maybe. For those who don't know, Kieran Villegas is back in Swindon for another year. And let's be fair, boys, since his arrival in January, he's ripped it up.
He pulled it.
So it'll be really interesting to see what he can do with a full season.
Yeah, absolutely. Bristol Pitbulls hosting the Telford Tigers. I was surprised by this one. Bristol taking it 6-5 in overtime.
Yeah.
Bit of a eyebrow raiser was that one.
Good result for Bristol, this one. Obviously, again, I think their fate is sealed at this point anyway, but Telford maybe looking at it as, okay, well, we don't need to,
let's get
qualified again. Yeah, so you're going to see some of these results. I think when we was predicting these games, it's hard to predict because you know what value you get with the standard team, but in these moments you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And when you look across the board at the games, how many games had actually gone to overtime?
That's true.
Is almost telling.
These I think the teams now that are in the race will probably just want to go out there and perform well for the home crowd. Sort of a thank you for the season, the support and stuff. So it's a nice one for the Bristol fans after quite a hard season.
Yeah, absolutely. Milton Keynes hosting the Basingstoke Bison. Again, I think this falls into the same category as what you just mentioned there, but it is massive all the same. And it was a 5-4 victory in overtime for Basingstoke Bison, so that was really good because Milton Keynes have been on the up a little bit lately, haven't they?
Yeah, what was it, 7 or 8 wins in a row, or something like that. So nice for them to be the streak to be ended, so they don't reach the Seahawks one. But no, in all seriousness, though, MK are on a really good streak, and it went to overtime, so they're still picking up points out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the final game on Saturday, Solway Sharks hosted Sheffield Steel Dogs, and the Steel Dogs took this one 5-4 in overtime. So, 3 out of the 5 games going to overtime. As you just mentioned there, it does speak volumes of what we're getting at this point in the season.
It does. Again, I keep chiming in with these, but this is the last time, boys. Another big announcement for this one, boys, wasn't it? Big Johnny Yancis is back for another year, and I think that's a real statement from Solway.
Yeah, it is.
Some signing for them, definitely.
It's a massive signing, isn't it? And interestingly, we after watching Solway's interview with Johnny Yancis, actually, Andy Glenn, who is a really good commentator, he does all the interviews, really enjoy his stuff. He said he'd done the maths, and actually, since Johnny's arrival in the league, if the league had started from then, Solway would have been 4th in the league.
It speaks volumes to the character they've got in the dressing room.
That's crazy, isn't it? Like, imagine what they can do with a full season. They might be, they might be a shoe-in for making playoffs next year. Like a 6th, 7th, maybe. All right.
I think they'll be hoping to. I think that would probably be the minimum. I think, they've built themselves a pretty decent team this year.
I'd like to see it as well, in my opinion.
So they've finished now for the last 2 or 3 years.
I think they deserve a little bit of a...
digressing again, as I've done a few times, but can you imagine if Solway got to playoffs and they turn around and says, oh yeah, we want Friday night games? Can you imagine having to travel to Solway on a Friday night to play your playoff game?
No, it's not a bad show.
That'd be grim.
It would be grim.
Can you imagine that? You'd have to leave work early, so people would be like, I can't get it off work and stuff like that. The team's depleted, you've got to go to Solway, and then it's like, here we go then. Yeah. Games in the playoffs.
Can everyone get the Friday off? Yeah, brilliant. Alright, sweet. Or can everyone finish at 12? Yeah, great stuff. Or you locked down in Swindon, get yourself sorted out, you're coming up to play on Friday night.
Out the 6 games in the playoffs, you give 3 of them straight away to them for them Friday games, if they went down that route, obviously, but it's one of those thoughts that you can think of, and it'd be absolutely horrible for that.
It'd be nice to see him playing games from home from the start as well, to be a true reflection. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was Saturday. Moving on to Sunday's games. The first game on Sunday was Basingstoke Bison hosting the Swindon Wildcats, and this one was an absolute goal fest. 9-4 in the favour of Swindon. I think there was 7-0 up at one point, and I think they just sort of went down a couple of gears and just saw the game out, but some goal fest that, and Swindon, like you said, just doing business.
Just taking them to the sword, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. I don't suppose Basingstoke will be too
disheartened.
They've got a good result against MK the night before.
Yeah.
Swindon coming.
Yeah.
The one worrying thing about this though is Tyler Watkins got 4 goals, so just when Viegas and Van der Meraka are popping up with these goals, it then goes to the other end, bang loads in, like, great.
Well, that's why they've won the title this year, for performances and reasons like that. They always have somebody stepping up, so fair play to them. Romford Raiders hosting the Solway Sharks, as you mentioned about Romford on the Saturday. They only needed the 2 points of the weekend, which they got, so this one was a bit of a free hit, if you want to put it like that. But still, they did beat Solway Sharks 6-3 here, so that's a really good result for them. I'm sure Solway would have liked to have at least got a win this weekend at some point, so it's a bit of a shame for them. Hull Seahawks hosted the Bristol Pitbulls after their great overtime win against Telford, and they went to overtime again. As we mentioned, 4-3 in favour of Seahawks though, that one, so 2 points for Bristol, disrupting the other teams that have made playoffs, so not a bad one for them. Peterborough Phantoms hosting MK, 8-3 victors Peterborough.
Didn't expect this one.
No.
Yeah, a bit of a different tone to this one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Some little stats on this one as well, weren't they, actually?
Back-to-back defeats for MK?
Back-to-back defeats for MK. We don't know if they've dropped loads of players or whatever, but you still got to play the games in front of you, like, yeah.
Is it that, or we come to Peterborough at top
really
line?
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
We can mention all of them in this category, really.
Yeah.
Yanni had another absolute crazy time, as he does. Cam Huff, as we'll go into it, did break the goal scoring record. He's on 62 goals now.
Unheard of.
Unbelievable that you've doubted that they could do any more than that top line. Whatever. But they've carried them and really well.
Yeah, Feds and Huff were both on 5-point nights, weren't they? And Luke Ferrara's just going under the radar now. He's on about 117 points.
That's crazy, isn't it?
You can look at other seasons and seasons prior and stuff and say, oh well, this player got this. The league. This National League, from what I see, has never been better than this National League. If we talk about stats in our league, not EPL, not the other stuff. Like, if you talk about the National League, the National League's in the best state it is or has been since the National League started, I'd say. And for Ferraris to be putting up that amount of points is ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Massive well done, sir, to that top line.
Yeah, Yanni was the second player, wasn't he? Was it? I think it was in this weekend. Yanni became the second player in the league, just the second player to reach 100 points as well. So that they've all got those individual milestones, haven't they? It must just be an absolute pleasure. Ash Tate must be like, do you need help, boys? Like, what do you need from me? Like,
a pair of
couple of drinks, chocolate bar? No. You just do you,
I'll
lads.
just sit here then.
You do you, lads. Anyone got the paper? Go. Yeah, nice one, lads. Unreal.
I'm sure we'll be hoping that continues into the playoffs as well.
Absolutely.
And the final game on the Sunday, Telford Tigers hosting the Leeds Knights, and this is one that has made our reel before we've come to film tonight. And Leeds Knights took this one 4-2.
I remember this one's so annoying because, like, we're going away from this segment right now, but Brad after the recording went, "Oh mate, imagine if me and Azza got that correct. We both guessed the correct score, and we both got the 3 points, and you went for Telford." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Telford are going to win now, blah blah blah." Lo and behold, when I was marking it all up last night, I was like, "Oh,
Not only did they get the right team, they got the result."
exactly. If one of you had got it, I'd have been a bit like, fair enough, but so rough to take.
So that's the results then, boys. We'll have a look at the standings. A lot of things will stay as it is now. We know the 8 teams have qualified for playoffs. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, of course. So in first position and champions, Swindon Wildcats, 52 played, 80 points. Hull Seahawks in second, 52 played, 67 points. Leeds Knights in third, 52 played, 65 points. Sheffield Steel Dogs in fourth, 52 played, 65 points. Peterborough Phantoms in fifth, 52 played, 64 points. Milton Keynes Lightning in sixth, 52 played, 59 points. Telford Tigers in 7th, 52 played, 57 points. Romford Raiders in 8th, 52 played, 51 points. Solway Sharks in 9th, 52 played, 42 points. Bristol Pitbulls in 10th, 52 played, 41 points. And Basingstoke Bison in 11th, 52 played, 39 points. So it's all confirmed anyway, as we know. So the teams going to the playoffs, 1st to 8th, 9th to 11th have now missed out. So it's all about the seedings. Which, when you look from second position down to 5th position, there still could be some changes there.
There could. Yeah, definitely. Just based off what I'm seeing now, first of all, a big congrats, I think, to Romford for making that last 8th place. But selfishly, I always go to the Seahawks, and actually from Christmas time to look at where we are now, boys, I definitely feel like this is a season to be proud of, innit? Like where we are in the league, second position. I know things can change and we might end up 4th or 5th or whatever by the end of the weekend, but
it shows good signs.
It's a real good sign,
so,
definitely. Especially with the announcement of Heskey coming back next season.
It has been the Heskey effect, though, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
That I think anybody who says otherwise, has been watching what we've been watching for the last 14, 15 games since he come in. He's showed us up so much, and Seahawks only need 2 points from this coming weekend, and that is confirmed second. And not a bad place to finish at all. A great foundation for going into the next season as well. Still a few of the others in the pack can shuffle around. Leeds and Sheffield on exactly the same points, so that could be a swap. I don't think it would do much in terms of seedings though, would it? So we're looking about where we will be, I think. I don't think much will change.
Peterborough could sneak up to third though, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could.
So that'd end up us being a group with Hull. Well, we are Hull. With Peterborough, Telford and whoever, and then not Telford. Would it be Telford? Second, third, 6th, 7th, isn't it?
Second, third, 6th, 7th.
Is that right?
And then 1st, 4th.
Rather than us working out like the phones, we'll pass it over to Azza, who actually has the information.
Yeah, well, I'd mentioned it before we started filming. A gent called Ed Brad had put something in the NIHL fan frenzy, and he'd sort of worked out what things would look like, and he'd mentioned about how Hull Seahawks need the 2 points to guarantee second, and if they did, what it would look like, sort of thing. So, as Ed had seen it and how the positions are likely to look, so he's put down that group here would potentially be Swindon, who would finish first, obviously. Sheffield would finish fourth, Peterborough fifth, and Romford eighth. That would make up Group 1, which would be a pretty interesting group. And Group B would then be Hull as a top seed in for finishing second, Leeds in third, MK sixth, and Telford seventh. So, I mean, if we worked on that then, fellas, what would you think to those sort of those group makeups there? You know, looking at that.
Honestly, it's either of those groups are difficult.
I genuinely don't think there's an easy group out of these 8 teams, if I'm being honest. I don't think you could cherry pick 3 teams and be like, yep, I'll definitely play those, because all of the teams are able to pick up wins and points and score goals. And you look at every team. Look at Telford. They've got Tomo and Henderson who are both on nearly 90 points each, and Romford have got really good depth of British players and good defensively. You know, and then everybody in 1 to 6 are there for a reason, aren't they? How many point splitters? Like 5, 6, or 7, or something like that. Like, it's really tough, isn't it? Like the group that we have there, I'm not going to lie, I'm confident because of how the team's playing, but on paper, if you'd have given me that at the start of the season, I'd have been like, oh, I don't really like that.
The only thing, and I mentioned it, before we started filming, the only way I'd be happy with that group is the fact we don't face Peterborough. Yeah. Because for the past 2 years, it's come down to those games against Peterborough where we haven't made the grade. So if we can get rid of that hoodoo and get rid of Peterborough, I'd be a bit more confident.
I think I'd rather, no disrespect to MK, but I think I'd rather MK come to Albarn than Peterborough, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And as I've always said as well, you need to win all your home games when it comes to these, and then if you need to,
and then pick up a point and overtime.
I think if you can win all 3 home games and then win one of your away games, you're going to be thereabouts. You might need another point or so, but I think at minimum you have to win your own games. So obviously this can change. This is obviously as we stand at the minute. Obviously Seahawks might not finish second.
Sheffield might squeeze up.
Yeah,
we don't know, do you?
Yeah, it could change again, but that is current play at the minute, which makes it quite an interesting one. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out in this final week.
It would be very interesting.
Well, that wraps up then, boys. Looking at the standings, we'll move on to our team of the week. So now we're going to have a look at our team of the week for this week. Well, I think a lot of people might be able to guess some of these, to be honest with you. It's sort of rolling into the same people with the odd, surprise in there. We'll start us off with our netminder, and I don't think it comes as any surprise, but it is Alex Santeri Heiskanen of the Hull Seahawks.
Husky.
I think he did it just for his dad, to be honest with you. We mentioned this, didn't we, coming into it? I didn't think he was going to do it despite winning on the Sunday game. I just thought the way we've been playing would be a bit iffy, and I just thought he might not do it, but he got the crowd going. It is good to see it, and it really, after not seeing it.
It's nice when
getting the overtime winning and making an important save in there. It was he earned the right.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was at the forefront of a big weekend and a 4-point weekend for Hull Seahawks. Friday night, obviously, against Sheffield, conceding only 1 goal in 43 shots against a very good Sheffield team with some of their big hitters as well. To only concede 1 was massive. And on Sunday, he faced 41 shots again, conceding 3, but he made some very good saves again and withstood a lot of pressure on his door, didn't he? And he did help us through to overtime and another victory. So massive well done to him. And he's just, you can see he's above a lot of the other goalies in the league. He's a joke to watch.
It's going to be very, very good to see him in a playoff scenario.
So. Yeah, I've said this before about a few teams. Can you go play in a neutral rink that is quite big? Yeah, because that's where a lot of teams' downfall will be, in my opinion. But Heiskanen, our netman for this week.
Okay, so moving on, our first defenseman this week might seem a little bit unusual to most of you, but it is Swindon Wildcats' Eddie Bebris. Bebris has been played as a forward this season, but he's been back in defence this week. So bearing in mind being in defence, he's also come up with 3 goals. I know Swindon has scored big, but still, for a D-man to get 3 goals is great. So on Saturday night, he scored and assisted in Swindon's 4-1 against Peterborough, as well as picking up the man of the match. And then on Sunday, he scored 2 goals in the 9-4 away win against Basingstoke. So, although Swindon have already won the league, they're already confirmed for playoffs and stuff. He's come in, taken his moment, and put teams to the sword. So I don't think there's much more you can say about that. I think it's good to recognise that sort of performance, even if it is at this stage of the season.
You need those players as well. Like Ben O'Connor's been a massive miss for them, hasn't he? So the fact that Eddie's then gone back from, because I know they used him as a bit of a battering ram on the forward lines, because I think last season he was in defence as well. So I think he's done really well both ways, but for him to be able to have the players like that who can cover both is like really important, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I love that. Might be a bit of like a little bit of a Jimmy Chilcott.
Go on, James.
Go on, James. Anyway, our next defenceman is a Sheffield Steel dog, and it is CJ Garcia. So while Sheffield had a tough night on Wednesday, they got over the line, and obviously CJ was a massive help to the Dogs to win their first bit of silverware of the season. They'll be hoping for a little bit more, I imagine. And obviously Garcia didn't play on the Friday night game. He was rested against the Seahawks, but when he was back, he chipped in against Solway. He had, I believe it was 2 assists during regulation, and then scored the overtime winner to sort of tie up a personal for him 2-win week, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
If
we move on to our forwards then, the first forward, and it is TJ Anderson, somebody who has been in the team of the week a few times and has really impressed. I know certainly as you this season with how good he's been. Played a huge part in Romford securing that last playoff spot. Going to and playing Leeds on that Saturday. That was probably the game where they thought this would probably won't be able to secure it here, but they did with that big win. And on that he got 2 goals and 2 assists, which is massive. Really driving the team forward and getting that win against Leeds and securing the playoff spot. And then Sunday, they didn't need to be forcing a result, but they still got one again. Another goal and an assist in the home win. And he now has 81 points in 50 games, and you can imagine he's going to play a big part in Romford's push for the Final Four. And who's to say they can't do it, because they've got a bit of form about them. Yeah,
definitely. I think if they turn it on and they can play it, certainly at their home rink,
be a massive disruptor.
They can lock that down. Yeah, exactly.
I think if anybody thinks they're going to go there and be guaranteed the points in playoffs, they might be mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so moving on, our next forward is someone that we've not really seen much of in the team of the week this year, but we know what he's about, and his name's everywhere. He was last season's top point scorer, MVP. MVP. It was no other than Owen Sobchak. Again, we mentioned, it was a busy week for the Knights. They had the cup final against Sheffield, which unfortunately didn't go their way, but he did play his big part in coming back to that point. So chipped in with 2 goals and assist in the cup final, and then added another goal and assist in their unfortunately home defeat to Romford. And then the last game they had of the weekend, he managed to find the net in their 4-2 win against Telford. So 4 goals, 2 assists over the weekend, 6 points wrapped up for Sobs.
That's his best.
And these are the moments where he seems to come alive as well, doesn't he? So
hopefully he doesn't replicate the form of last year if they're in our group, because if he's bagging back-to-back hat-tricks every game, then we're in for it, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine Sobchak sinks us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a story, boys.
I think
no one's even thought about that yet, have they?
I think Arthur missed that week.
So finally, our last player in team of the week, and how could we not have the Finnish wizard in? Of course, I'm referring to Yanni Lakkonen. So despite a loss for the Phantoms on Saturday, Yanni had a remarkable night on Sunday, and sometimes we boys like to have a player in there just for these individual games, and Yanni definitely had one of those. He bagged a hat-trick and 4 assists in a massive comeback win against MK on Sunday night, and that's now put Yanni at 109 points for the season in just 49 games. So he's played maybe 3 games less than his but he's on the top line and putting up those kinds of
Disgusting,
points.
that is disgusting.
He's a jerk, and we always say it, and you probably get sick of people saying it. About 43 years old, guys. He's playing. He's 25 years older than some of the people he's playing, and he's still putting up these numbers. It's ridiculous. It's admirable. It's every positive adjective under the sun, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you could have had any of those boys from Peterborough in that last spot there. You could probably put multiple of them in there.
Yeah.
We're just trying to change it up a little bit, didn't we? And fair play to Yanni. He's been a good watch, to be honest with you. Just goes about his business really well.
Yeah.
Ferrara and Huff should have really been in there, but
I know we had a bit of a toy in there, didn't we? Who I said, it should probably be in Cam with the goal scoring record.
Yeah.
But like you say, it could be in any of them.
There's a couple of players in there this weekend who've done well. Shout out to Ollie Booth as well from Leeds, actually, because I know he had a real good night on Sunday.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of players, isn't there? But
yeah. Well, that wraps up Team of the Week for this week. Congratulations to everybody who made the cut, and we've got one more before we finish up the regular season.
And that'll be Team of the Season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now it's time to go into our final segment and look at the fixtures coming up for the final regular season, and obviously our scores on the doors. I'll come over to you, Rossy, because obviously we've already drip fed a little teasing video out. Rightly or wrongly, this is going to be interesting, in it. So again, just to clarify that these coming fixtures will be the last ones of our predictor, and the first Slapshot Syndicate Predictor League champion will be declared next week. So it's all touch and go. I think, off the top of my head, I think there was 5 points between me and you, and 7 and 8 points between you two. So top to bottom, was it something like 8-9 points?
It was less than that, maybe.
Yeah, less than that. But we'll come to you now, Rossy, and you can start delivering the scores and the doors for this week as well.
Yeah, perfect. So going into last week's points, the scores on the doors were I had 184, Brad had 185, and Azza was on 191. So there was 7 points between us, and 1 point between me and you. And going into the penultimate week, don't be peeking.
I'm not peeking.
I'm joking. Interesting one. You're sitting quite not comfortably, but you've got a good lead there.
Yeah.
You're still not in the hot seat of last place. How do you both feel? Well, obviously, the little reel that I drip fed this week has got to instill a little bit of confidence into your boys.
I know.
But how do you feel overall it went?
I think some of the results, in particularly on the Sunday, there were some big scoring results, which means I definitely ain't got some of the results right, and some of them bounced the way I didn't go for. So I don't know, but obviously seeing that I'd got the same result as you in the Leeds game was nice.
Hit and miss, mate. Hit and miss, in my opinion, because like I mentioned earlier, they're harder to predict these games now, because you don't really know what you're going to get in games that don't mean a lot for a lot of teams. It might be worth if anyone's trailing in this one at the end of this week, it might be worth a few stabs in the dark. It's a Hail Mary, isn't it, at the end of the day? So
absolutely. Well, this weekend I can confirm it was very much a tale of 2 days. So, we say 2 days, it was Friday fixtures and the cup fixture, but I'm just going to put this on your radar, boys. Up until the Sunday fixtures, both of you had just predicted one game correctly.
Oh.
So you both predicted that Sheffield was going to beat Hull. Every other game, boys, you both got wrong.
Yeah, that's bad.
I predicted 1, 2, 3, 4 of those correctly.
Oh no!
So those stabs in the dark obviously were. Yeah. Sunday came around. Those 5 games. Rossy predicted 3 of them correctly. So I ended up with 7 points.
Respectable.
You guys both predicted 4 games correctly. However, as we saw, there was a correct result or 2. So that, boys, actually put both of you ended up the week with 8 points.
So I like that.
without the correct score, you guys would have both been on 6 points and I would have won the week.
That is a rescue, that, isn't it?
So it was a massive rescue. I'm not going to lie, I was very upset last night when I was doing the scores on the doors.
I can imagine
Mrs. Ross had to give me a pat on the back. I was very upset.
Do you know what though? Just to throw in my weight here, to personally go on to try and win it, the fact that we've levelled each other means I've got that nice little 4 or 5 point gap for next week.
I'll tell you what the gap is. So currently in the hot seat and possibly facing the punishment is myself. I'm on 191 points. Brad is not so far in front of me. He has 193 points. Ooh. There's 2 points in it. And Azza has 199 points. He's about to reach the 200 club. So again, between myself and Azza, there's 8 points. And between you guys, 6. It's.
I'd hate to be in your position because there's a party that's probably looking at me thinking I'm going to try and claw him back. But the fact that he's right behind you, you don't know whether to swing.
Be a little bit
it's going to be tough for you, I think, to probably predict some of yours, and obviously equally as tough for you. I think, in some respects, I've got the easier job here, having that nice buffer. I can sort of how am I going to go for this? Where you two are going to be I need to be dead set.
Strategy,
the strategy from you two, because, like you say, if you be a bit confident, he could just come in and just. If he was to lose this on the last weekend,
after such a clawback as well from being last for nearly all of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a post actually this week because it's the last week, obviously, and I haven't been posting the winners because I had a thought a while ago where I want to put together just you can put multiple
like a collage,
and you must be on there so many times in the last how many weeks because you really did go on a bit of a streak and bring it back. I want to say at one point it was 15 points behind and say your second going into the final week is massive.
So I think we'll obviously announce it now, but we're not going to do this in our normal format where we go through each of the game and do our predictor. For obviously fairness and to stop each other potentially copying what the other one does to sort of just level out the playing field, we've decided that we're going to go home. Yeah. We're going to do our own scores and then at the same time we're going to post them into our group chat and then whatever's on there is gospel. There'll be no changing. Whatever is in there we'll be going ahead, so we won't know what each of are going to put until that chat is lit up with 3 notes and then obviously it'll be how it plays out
boys.
And then it'll be you who knows.
It will. How many of these games are we all going to predict the same score? I can just feel it now.
It could come down to literally a correct result and change a lot this coming weekend. But we're still going to go through the games. We probably won't say who we think's going to win because that obviously sway our potential predictions. But we'll go through the games and see who's playing who in this final weekend. Obviously, not much to play for a lot of these teams because they're guaranteed. We'll jump straight into it. So the first game is on Friday night, the 20th of March, and MK will be hosting Romford Raiders.
On that one.
I'm thinking you'll see next week there.
Saturday's fixtures, it'll be Swindon Wildcats hosting the Sheffield Steel Dogs, which will be a real nice game to obviously finish off at home there for Swindon. Basingstoke Bison will host Telford Tigers. Bristol Pitbulls will host Leeds Knights. Peterborough Phantoms will host Hull Seahawks. And the Solway Sharks will host the Milton Keynes Lightning. And then on to Sunday, which will be the final day of the regular season. Sheffield Steel Dogs will host the Basingstoke Bison. Leeds Knights will host Peterborough Phantoms. Romford Raiders will host Swindon Wildcats. And Hull Seahawks will host Solway Sharks. And finally, Telford Tigers host Bristol Pitbulls. So that's the fixtures this weekend, boys.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think for me the fixture of the weekend is obviously the Swindon and Sheffield one. That's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
Leeds and Peterborough.
Yeah, us and Peterborough.
Yeah.
You know, Peterborough, if they were to get a 4-point weekend, that could put them in a real healthy position in what group they're sitting. You know, so it's a bit unusual that we've done it this way. We haven't done it this way for a long time without our predictions in there, and I bet you was both gagging to start saying things as we was going through there, but I think this is the right way to set us up and build a bit of tension and
For sure.
decide who's going to have the forfeit at Coventry and who's going to be crowned the victor of our first predictor.
The victor of the first predictor.
But with that said then, that is the end of this week's episode. You know, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support that we get. We love the messages, the interactions, you know, the polls, the comments. It's all greatly appreciated, and we love the little community we're starting to build now. And long may it continue. You know, we're looking to continue this for a long time now, so it's only just starting to hot up a bit, isn't it, boys?
It is indeed. It is indeed. I'll be honest. I'll be quite glad that for in playoffs I don't have to predict anything. So let's have a bit of breathing space.
He says that now until he loses and he goes, "Oh boys, can we just double down?" But no, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Real good episode next week. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Slapshot Syndicate, pure ambition. 3 mics, 1 mission. Azza and Rossy, yeah, that's the crew. Dropping knowledge, what you gonna do?